Good morning. My name is Steve Cohen. Debbie, do we need to take a roll call first?
Yes, Mr. Cohen. I'll do that right now. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Royce, Empire State Development's Corporate Secretary. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's meeting. And before we formally begin, I would ask that everyone please mute your lines unless you're speaking. We'll begin today by taking a roll call of the directors to ensure that we have a quorum present on the line. Please be so kind as to stay present when we call your name. Steve Cohen.
Present.
Howard Zemsky.
Present.
Howard, I think I heard you say present?
Yes, present, sorry.
Thank you. Eric Gertler.
Present.
Hilda Rosario Escher.
Present.
Bethel Perales.
Present.
And DFS Superintendent Linda Lacewell.
Present.
Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Cohen, we now have a quorum, so you can begin. Thank you.
Terrific. First of all, thank you, Debbie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Cohen. For those of you who aren't aware, I was recently nominated by Governor Cuomo and confirmed by the Senate to be a member of the UDC board, and I was designated by the governor to serve as its chair. I would like to take a moment to thank Howard Zemsky, who has served in this role for, my guess is, more years than he cares to recount, and has done a stellar job in leading this organization. And I am delighted that he has been designated chair emeritus by the governor. In fact, I will note that you know somebody has done an extraordinary job when, to keep them, they have to create a new title that designates the significance of that person and that they will continue to serve an overarching role. I also want to thank Eric Gertler, who day to day, as everybody knows, is charged with responsibility of running the operation and has been an incredible source of comfort and welcome to me since I found myself in this position about 3 weeks ago. And I also would be remiss, and some might argue foolish, if I failed to note that Linda Lacewell, the superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services, is joining and participating in the board rather than sending a designee. That is, I think, a reflection of the fact that Howard Zemsky is now the emeritus chair. So I just want to thank you all. Howard or Eric, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to say.
Hey, it's Howard. If you don't mind, I'd just like to, 30 seconds worth. I want to thank you, Steve, for your kind words and welcome as the new chair. By now, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the many ways you've been, a right hand to the governor over decades, literally decades. And I know the governor's always worked hard to have the right people in the right place at the right time, and, you're certainly that person. So I just want to, thank you for stepping up again for the governor of the state and for all the people at ESD. So in closing, I just want to say thank you to the directors. It's always been an honor to serve with all of you and to continue to serve with all of you, and to Eric and his leadership, going all in at such a difficult and important time for the organization, and of course to the governor for his confidence, the honor of a lifetime. And thank you to the team at ESD, who I so genuinely respect and admire, and I sure hope we are together in person soon. But welcome, Steve, and thank you again.
Thank you, Eric. I don't know if you want to address the board.
Well, what I will do is I will wait. I have to. I will give a president's report, and I will wait till then, so as not to duplicate, my words.
I appreciate the efficiency. And Howard, again, thank you for everything, and thank you for agreeing to remain on. And to the rest of the board members, some of whom I know, I look forward to working with some of you again and with getting to know others now. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development, for Thursday, August 20th, 2020. Before we get started, I will ask that everyone please mute their phones until we are ready to speak. Also, for the record, I will ask that anyone wishing to speak, please be sure to state your name before you begin. I'd like to note for the record that due to public health concerns and as authorized by an executive order of the governor, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 4:30 p.m. yesterday. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. As always, the directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting, and they are free to ask questions at any time during the presentations. At this time, I will ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I will ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time, and we will then remind you to recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. I am now going to quietly wait to see if there's a response for just a moment. Having heard no response, I think we can proceed. The first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the July 16th, 2020 directors meeting. I assume everybody's had an opportunity to review those meetings. Are there any questions or comments or additions or deletions with respect to the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. It's Howard.
I will second.
Terrific. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition? Thank you. The motion carries. I will now ask Kathleen Mize, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, to present an item relating to the corporation's annual financial reports. Kathleen?
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, directors. You did a great job pronouncing my last name. The Public Authorities Law requires annual approval by the corporation's Board of Directors and certifications by the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer of certain financial reports, the reports. The reports consist of financial information set forth in the Consolidated Financial Statements and Independent Auditor's Report, March 31, 2020 and 2019, the audit report, as prepared with the corporation's independent audit firm, EFPR Group, LLP. The audit report is being presented today instead of before June 30th, as required under the law, consistent with Executive Order Number 202.11 that allows the Director of the Authority's Budget Office, the ABO, to disregard reporting deadlines during the current state of emergency. The ABO encouraged all public authorities to make reasonable efforts to submit the required reports as timely as is practicable, but not later than 90 days after the original deadline. The COVID-19 pandemic affected the ability of both the ESD finance team and the independent audit firm to safely work in ESD's New York City office, and prevented the audit firm from being able to conduct certain on-site audit testing and other processes required under their auditing standards before the June 30th deadline. It should be noted that the delay is only due to restrictions in place and related to COVID-19, and it is not related to the corporation's financial performance or operating results. The audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2020, contains an unmodified, unqualified, or clean opinion reflecting that the consolidated financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position, results of operations, and cash flows of the corporation and its subsidiaries. In addition, the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance, addressing whether control deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control exist, did not identify any deficiencies that would be considered to be material weaknesses. The audit firm was able to obtain reasonable assurance that the corporation's financial statements are free of material misstatement by performing tests of compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements, including the corporation's investment guidelines and other matters. Non-compliance with any of these could have had a direct and material effect on the financial statements. Their testing revealed no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported. Included in the materials presented is the complete audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2020. Earlier today, the Audit and Budget Committee of the corporation has reviewed the audit report and recommends its presentation to the full board. Representatives from our audit firm are also on the phone with us, and we are happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors?
Hey, it's Howard. I just want to take 1 second and say, you know, I was on the audit and governance meeting earlier, and it was a, you know, outstanding, very clean opinion audit. Anyone who's been associated with ESD for some period of time is not surprised. We have a very well experienced, very professional team, but it should be noted, it was as full-throated a clean opinion as you can get in terms of what we heard from the auditor. So I just want to thank, you know, thank the team, the whole finance group. We have an exceptional team, and thank you.
Terrific. Any other questions, comments? I assume, hearing none, that the matter before us is acceptance of the submission. Do we have a motion?
Motion. I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I assume no opposition. The motion carries, which now means we can turn to Douglas Carr, who will present an item relating to the authorization for revolving credit financing in connection with Moynihan Station Civic and Land Use Improvement Project. Doug?
Yes. Good morning. I'm Douglas Carr, the Acting Executive Director for the Moynihan Development Project. Today, the directors are being asked to approve a short-term revolving loan to be provided by Citibank for the ongoing construction of the Moynihan Train Hall project. The train hall work is on track for year-end 2020 substantial completion. The work is primarily being funded by a $562 million federal transportation infrastructure finance and innovation loan, otherwise known as the TIFIA loan. ESD receives monthly disbursements from the TIFIA loan based on the original 2017 projected construction work schedule. However, the train hall work has proceeded ahead of that schedule, and we are now spending funds at a faster pace than originally. The short-term Citibank revolving loan will address the misalignment of our spending schedule versus when TIFIA funds are available for drawdown. If approved, ESD will use the revolving loan funds to pay eligible project costs in advance of scheduled monthly TIFIA loan draws. ESD will fully repay any outstanding amounts of the Citibank revolving loan from subsequent TIFIA loan disbursements. The ability to maintain the current pace of construction will result in an early project delivery, enabling the train hall to open in 2020. As a brief project background, the Moynihan project began construction in the summer of 2017, and the train hall is currently over 90% complete. The project development agreement and the developer contract with Skanska, the project builder, included a substantial completion date of March 1st, 2021. At closing, the agreement also included a commitment from all parties to endeavor to achieve an earlier substantial completion date, if possible, and as the project advanced. In November of 2019, after successfully meeting numerous challenging construction milestones, ESD, the developer, and Skanska agreed on a construction path with a new substantial completion date of December 31st, 2020. Despite many challenges in the past several months, the project has retained its momentum and is still scheduled to be substantially complete by the end of this year. As a result of the advanced construction schedule, total project costs are being funded during a shorter time period than originally anticipated in 2017. Based on this, we are projecting the need for temporary financing in October and November of 2020 to meet our monthly spend rate until the next scheduled TIFIA loan disbursement in November and December of 2020. The revolving loan will provide the necessary funds to continue construction at the current pace, substantially advancing the overall project delivery schedule. Early completion will place the train hall in service by year-end and will allow for other project stakeholders such as Amtrak, Long Island Railroad, and commercial uses to commence revenue-generating operations ahead of schedule. And the key terms regarding the loan, the maximum loan amount will be $45 million. The revolving loan will have a term of 9 months from the loan closing date, and the loan interest rate will equal the sum of 1.75% and the greater of 0.75% or the 1-month LIBOR index. ESD will fully repay any amounts due under the Citibank revolving loan from subsequent monthly TIFIA loan disbursements. The directors are now requested to authorize ESD to secure and enter into the revolving loan financing agreement with Citibank under substantially the same terms described in the materials provided to you, and to take all related actions necessary with respect thereto. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Doug, just for the sake of clarity, I gather what we have here is just a pure timing issue. That given the pace of the project and the need to make project payments and the schedule on the TIFIA loans, we're just ahead of ourselves, and so the revolver fills that gap, and that's really what we're approving, a revolver to fill the gap.
That's exactly correct. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, go on, Eric.
I just wanted to add, I've lived through the last, 6 months with Doug as his Holly Light, and I just want to, we saw the project way ahead of schedule, and then dealing with the challenges of COVID, and I just want to, Doug, acknowledge your terrific efforts in, jumping in to helping lead the project, earlier this year, and dealing with Skanska and LIRR and Amtrak, and for those on the board who have not taken a tour, we'd love to get you into see Moynihan. It will be spectacular. It will fulfill the governor's vision in every way, and I think it's a project that our agency will be, quite proud of as an important transit-oriented project. That when the governor talks about Build Back Better, I think Moynihan will proudly sit near the top of that list. So, Doug, hats off to you for all your great and hard work over the last 6 months.
Thank you, Eric.
I'll take you up on that offer, Eric. Just tell me when the tour is, and I'll be there. And anybody wants to join me. Great.
Yeah. Maybe next week. The screens are actually in now, so there's actually Doug. Let's after the call, let's circle and see when we can take Steve through and anybody else, because I think you'll love it.
Terrific.
Happy to arrange.
And anyone else who wants to join us, please just let us know. Probably be a good opportunity to get together in a socially distanced way and with masks. I will now if there are no more questions, hearing none, I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Motion, this is Hilda.
Second?
I will second. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. We now turn to Yoni Boxer, who will present an item relating to Empire State Entertainment Diversity Job Training Development Fund. Yoni, whenever you are ready.
Good morning. Thank you, and welcome. My name is Yoni Boxer. I am the Acting Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Motion Picture and Television Development here at ESD. Today, the directors are being asked to adopt guidelines creating the Empire State Entertainment Diversity Job Training Grant Program. The program, funded through the Empire State Entertainment Diversity Job Training Development Fund, is a statewide fund authorized by the legislature. In July 2019, Governor Cuomo announced a first-in-the-nation Empire State Entertainment Diversity Job Training Development Fund to support job training and workforce development across New York State's entertainment industry. The fund is financed by an allocated percentage from the New York State Film Tax Credit Program. The fund aims to ensure that the jobs related to the growth of New York's entertainment industry are filled by New Yorkers who represent the diverse nature of New York State. Specifically, the proposed guidelines the board's asked it to adopt create a program which does the following. Train individuals involved in the principal creation of or editing of a film or television product. Create a pathway to jobs and connections with employment and/or union partnerships. Further diversify the employment in the motion picture and television industry from a socioeconomic, regional, and diversity perspective. 4, target residents in economically distressed areas of the state. And 5, ensure that New York State has sufficient workforce in order to meet the demands of a growing industry. The total estimated funding for this program is up to $2 million annually. The maximum grant amount for an eligible project is $500,000, while the minimum grant amount is $25,000. Grants are eligible for working capital expenditures. Grant recipients will be required to provide $2 of matching funds for every $1 of program assistance. This grant program builds upon the Film Production Training Program, a partnership between New York State, Bronx Community College, and IATSE Local 52. I'm happy to answer any other questions, and thank you all.
Any questions? I'll just ask a theoretical question, or a hypothetical. Who do you envision being the recipient of the grants?
Based on the guidelines, the recipients could be nonprofit organizations, educational institutions such as universities, companies that are looking to hire additional workforce, or labor unions.
Thank you. Any other questions? I take it there are none. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposition? The motion carries. We now will move to the report section of today's agenda and the main event, and I will ask Eric Gertler to start things off with his president's report. Eric, whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Steve, and good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. And first, I would like to, as well, welcome our new board chair, Steve Cohen. You all know Steve. Steve has been a long-serving, highly trusted member of the governor's administration and a dedicated public servant. And I certainly know that ESD will benefit from his focus, his experience, leadership, and extraordinary abilities. I had the privilege to work with Steve over the last few months as the New York Board Initiative was developed, and I'm looking forward to working more closely with him in his new role. Equally important, he has another role which I am looking forward to sharing with him, which is he is a fellow hockey fanatic. So it may become a long winter, and hopefully we'll be able to watch some hockey games together.
Let's also be clear. Let me interrupt you for 1 second. I serve as the co-chair of Maccabee USA Hockey, a not-for-profit organization that promotes a very discreet mission, which is hockey playing among Jewish people. And I will not give that up no matter what Jacob says. I will retain that position. Well,
it's a small group of those that participate, but I'm glad to have you as a fellow hockey fanatic, Steve. So I also want to thank Linda Lacewell, the enormously capable superintendent of the Department of Financial Services. Our sister agencies, ESD and DFS, are closely aligned both in mission and focus. So it's great to have her join today. And I'm excited to benefit from her experiences. And as I learned yesterday in a pre-call, to benefit from her questioning and her thinking. And so thank you, Linda, for making the time to serve on our board. And then lastly, I want to also acknowledge and congratulate Chair Emeritus Howard Zemsky, one, for his new role, and two, in keeping with Steve's comments, for having had so many roles and wearing so many hats over the years that we had to go way back and find a term from ancient Latin to describe who he is and what he does now. So, but in all seriousness, the agency, the state, we're deeply indebted to you, Howard, and we appreciate your continued involvement and guidance. And I want to personally thank you for your friendship and advice over the last number of years. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. It's nice to have a title that I can't pronounce, but it's still an honor.
Well, good. Enjoy it well, as they say. So, so for our new board directors, this presentation is designed to provide an update since our last meeting, usually at a high level. I will start on a macro state level. And as many know, the state continues to be very focused on the continuing COVID-19 recovery and reopening efforts. As the governor announced yesterday, yesterday was the 12th straight day positive COVID tests were under 1% in New York State, which is really terrific news. Earlier this month, the governor announced schools across the state are permitted to open this fall, but each school district must have a testing and tracing plan, decide a teaching model that works best for them, and follow the strict guidance from the Department of Health. As well, beginning on August 24th, gyms and fitness centers will be allowed to reopen at limited capacity while following the rigorous safety protocols that we have published. And we at ESD were very aware that some industries and businesses in certain regions still remain closed, but the positive direction we are headed in as a state will hopefully bring progress on that front soon, but always balancing the health of New Yorkers with the opening of these industries. Now, within the agency, our departments continue to be very busy handling both ESD business, regular business, and also assisting with the state's response to the pandemic. ESD employees are now returning to offices pursuant to state-issued guidelines for business resumption. Employee return schedules vary by region and involve a combination of in-office and remote work to ensure that social distancing is maintained. I'm proud that ESD employees have maintained a high level of productivity while working from home, but as staff return to our agency, the agency is still taking every precaution and implementing comprehensive employee health protocols, including providing PPE and requiring daily health screenings for every employee every day prior to entering ESD space. Earlier this month, I had the opportunity to address New York's premier digital game development conference, Play NYC. Digital game development is an important industry that, thanks to ESD's support, is showing tremendous signs of growth in the Empire State. Also this month, the governor announced ESD's work on supporting manufacturers who are retooling to support COVID-related supplies. The governor announced 12 additional state-based companies. This special ESD program helps companies, as I said, retool their production lines and ensure that the state's future needs for PPE and other equipment can be met. The Division of Minority and Women's Business Development wrapped up its virtual Regional Opportunities Expo series in the Mohawk Valley. During the course of the series, hundreds of participants were able to get helpful information about ESD and its programs to help MWBEs participate in our economy. The team is busy putting together this year's forum, which will feature a different social distance-friendly format in December in Albany. Our New York Forward Loan Fund continues to perform successfully. both in terms of interest from small business owners and the pace with which we've been able to assist them. We are excited to see that acceleration for lending is only increasing over the last few weeks. We've provided more than $5 million to over 110 businesses, 80% of which are minority and or women-owned businesses. We were also proud to support the governor in announcing that $17 million in funding has been awarded through the Lake Ontario Business Resiliency Program. More than 140 businesses in the 8-county region surrounding Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River are receiving that support as part of the Governor's Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative, or REDI, R-E-D-I, which was established in response to devastating flooding along the shoreline communities in 2017 and then again in 2019. These grants will be used for businesses' continued recovery and to enhance resiliency. Yesterday, we held an agency-wide call on diversity, which included a guest panel discussion focused on the movie Selma. There is much that can be done by society to ensure access to opportunities fair and equitable. And as we all know, it is an important mission for this agency to create opportunity for all New Yorkers. I really appreciate all the efforts of the Diversity Committee for their focus, commitment, and hard work on important priorities. And finally, I just want to highlight some recent positive news about New York State that reflects the strong future that we have ahead of us. Two big tech firms, Facebook and Amazon, recently announced commitments to expand in New York City. With respect to Facebook, they will be taking 750,000 square feet in the Farley building, which I believe is further evidence that demonstrates the governor's vision for Moynihan and Penn Station. That shows that the private sector's that not only shows the private sector's strong interest in not only being here, but also to grow here and the continued need in the future for office space in New York. So with that, I close. I want to thank my fellow board members. I thank again our new board chair, Steve Cohen, and everyone at the agency for their continued hard work, dedication, and commitment as we continue to reopen and rebuild our state's economy. Thank you, Steve. Back to you.
Thank you, Eric. I greatly appreciate it. Before we proceed with our project items, I will ask Glennon McCleary to present a summary of those projects. Glenn?
Thank you, Steve. Good morning and welcome. Again, I'm Glennon McCleary, and I'm the Vice President and Director of the Loans and Grants Department. The directors will be requested to consider 19 projects totaling $35,907,957 in grants. The projects include 6 regional council awards and 13 discretionary awards. The projects will take place in Western New York, Mohawk Valley, Finger Lakes, Mid-Hudson, Capitol, Southern Tier, North Country, New York City, and Long Island regions to leverage over $81 million of additional investment, retain 128 jobs, and create 123 jobs in the state. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Glenn. We will now move to the project section of today's agenda. Regional directors and program staff are on the line with us today to present their items and to answer any project-related questions. We will turn it over to Amanda Mays, who will start things off with a project from our Western New York region. Amanda, are you with us?
I am. Good morning.
But I must say, I feel like, given the way we're doing this, I feel like I'm conducting a radio call-in show because I can't see anybody. Anyway, we go to Amanda Mays, who's on the line. Thank you, Amanda. Go ahead.
Good morning. The directors are being requested to approve a $263,315 capital grant from the New York Works Economic Development Fund to Steuben Foods, Inc. as part of a $526,630 project for the purchase and installation of a manufacturing press to assist in the processing of hemp seeds for food and beverage products. Steuben Foods is a contract food manufacturer and packager bottler of extended shelf life products for global and regional brand food companies. It was founded in 1981 in Elma, New York, and employs more than 600 people in its facility. In December of 2016, the company completed an 80,000 square foot expansion of its existing low acid aseptic processing and packaging facility which included 20,000 square feet of manufacturing space and equipment to specifically process grains, nuts, and seeds, and is currently undergoing an additional expansion to be able to keep up with customer demand. As a result of this particular project, Steuben has received and processed nearly 600,000 pounds of industrial hemp seeds thus far, transforming them into highly nutritional and digestible beverages and powders. The hemp products made from hemp seeds include but are not limited to nutritious hemp-based milk alternatives and creamers packaged in paperboard cartons under the brand name Elmhurst. Over 100,000 cartons have been sold over the last year, with additional products still to unveil. In addition, the company has hired new research scientists, and employees have been trained on the new machinery. This project supports the Western New York REDC's target industry sector of agriculture, and this project was completed in September 2019 and is thus seeking reimbursement at this time.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item? Assuming not, and I gather this is part of, we had a brief conversation about this the other day, a broader effort to enhance and expand the hemp industry in New York State, which for all sorts of reasons I actually think is fairly timely given the state of that industry. But with that said, I will now entertain a motion for approval of this this particular project.
So moved. That's Howard.
Any second? Terrific. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. We now turn to Mike Reese, who has two items from the Mohawk Valley region. Mike, are you there?
Good morning, Board of Directors. This morning I'm asking the board to approve a grant of up to $6 million from the Life Sciences Initiative Fund to the Masonic Medical Research Institute to be used for a portion of the cost of construction and renovations of the basement and sub-basement to create additional laboratory space. The Masonic Medical Research Institute is a nonprofit organization established in 1958 and is located in Utica, New York. Its primary mission is to conduct high-quality basic and clinical research aimed at generating knowledge and information necessary for the development of medical cures and treatments. The Institute is internationally recognized for its discoveries in cardiac arrhythmias and other scientific breakthroughs that are at the forefront of new heart medications and diagnostic procedures. Masonic Institute needed to modernize the lab space to allow for workforce growth and to transition from a traditional research-focused laboratory to an applied research and translational medicine-focused laboratory. ESD provided financial assistance for phase 1 of this modernization project, which is complete. Today I'm presenting phase 2 of the facility's renovation and is focused on modernizing the basement lab space for heart disease, diabetes, and obesity, autoimmunity, and cancer research and translational medicine. Project entails reconstruction and retrofitting 5,500 square feet of recently demolished basement space into a modernized laboratory. The project will create 20 new jobs with salaries ranging in the $100,000 to $110,000 per year. Total budget for this phase of the project is $15 million, and it was completed in July 2020. The project is consistent with the Mohawk Valley REDC strategy to prioritize projects that spark transformation in the life sciences industry. My second project, I'm asking the directors to approve a grant of up to $500,000 from the Upstate Revitalization Initiative to Old Forge Properties doing business as the Enchanted Forest Water Safari to be used for the demolition of 2 existing water slides and the purchase and construction of 3 new state-of-the-art water slides. Enchanted Forest was established in 1956 and began with water slides being constructed in 1984. The Water Safari is currently the largest water theme park in New York State, featuring 32 water rides and over 50 attractions in total. TripAdvisor has named the Enchanted Forest one of the top 25 best water parks in the U.S. for several years, and it was ranked number 4 in 2019. The Enchanted Forest attracts over 200,000 visitors annually and helps drive a significant amount of tourism to the central Adirondack region. The project included the purchase and installation of 3 new slides, along with re-engineering the water pumps and filtration support for these slides. The company has 36 full-time year-round employees, but grows to over 480 seasonal employees. Most of the seasonal employees are teenagers or early 20s, people coming back from college or spending their summer between high school grades working at the Enchanted Forest. Total project cost is $2.7 million. The project was completed in June 2020, and the project is consistent with our Mohawk Valley regional strategy to increase tourism and drive growth and visitor spending within the region. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. Next, we have 3 projects from our Finger Lakes region, which will be presented by the legendary Vinny Esposito. Vinny?
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the introduction. It's nice to be with you. The first of the 3 items to be considered today is actually a revisit of a project that the board passed in June of this year, which was a $2 million capital grant to IEC Electronics from the Upstate Revitalization Initiative to help with their 153 square foot facility in Newark in the county of Wayne. As you are well aware, after a board approves an item, before it can go through with the grant disbursement agreement, there's a public hearing that occurs to give the local public an opportunity to weigh in on the project. And if and when there's a negative public comment at that hearing, it will come back to you for reconsideration. At the public comment for this hearing, there was 1 negative public comment where a member submitted comments stating that tax funds should not be used without assurances that measures are taken to decrease the detrimental effect on neighboring residential properties. This was a complaint that we, I think, appropriately directed primarily to the town and the developer of the location where this new facility has been constructed. This new facility is in an industrial business park that is also off a major state highway. So combined with the minimal disruption to a neighborhood, given the existing industrial park, and given that the developer in town have been able to address this person's and these neighbors' complaints, along with the fact that this company has been doing business in the community of Newark for over 50 years, we believe that the board should continue to approve this project to go forward. The second item for your consideration is a $385,000 capital grant to Pure Functional Foods from the New York Works Economic Development Fund for the hemp seed processing program. Similar to the item from Western New York earlier, this is a working capital grant that will allow Pure Functional Foods to increase its production of hemp products in 2 locations, one in Wayne County and the other in Broome County, to expand their market by 20%, expand their production by 20% related to hemp production, primarily for ingredients in gluten and allergen-free food products. This was a $770,000 total project. The project was completed in December of 2019, and the company is seeking reimbursement. The third item is a $260,000 capital grant to the Laurentide Inn, which is a facility in the village of Penn Yan, and this is a grant from round 3 of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative for the village of Penn Yan, which was selected as Finger Lakes Region winner in 2018. The Laurentide Inn was founded in 2018 and is renovating and expanding a historic building right on the main street in downtown Penn Yan to be both a bed and breakfast and also have a brewery attached to the facility. The project will be in total $656,000 renovation, completed in May 2021, but the renovation project has reached its first milestone to receive disbursement and therefore is to you for approval this month. I'd be happy to take any questions on any of the 3 actions for your consideration.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will now entertain a motion for all 3 items.
Move. This is Hilda.
You have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motions carry. We are now turning to James Kostenblatt. You are up from the Mid-Hudson region. James, you there?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Steve, and welcome. Good morning, everyone. The directors are being asked today to approve a $600,000 regional council capital grant from round 7 to Schatz Bearing Corporation, which is in the city of Poughkeepsie in Dutchess County. Schatz Bearing Corporation is investing $3,015,436 in new machinery and equipment and will retain 77 full-time jobs over 5 years. I'm happy to report the machinery and equipment upgrades are 100% complete, and they currently employ 90 people, and the company is now eligible for disbursement of this award. A little bit about Schatz Bearing Corporation. They are the producer of precision parts for the world's leading commercial aerospace companies and bearings that meet or exceed the critical standards set by defense organizations. Their aerospace bearings withstand the speed, temperature, and load specifications of the aerospace and defense markets by providing high stiffness and low torque while still maintaining weight and size restrictions. The company's proprietary and standard thin section bearings are engineered specifically for in-the-air battlefield applications. Schatz was established in Poughkeepsie over 100 years ago and has been under the current ownership for about 40 years. Schatz has also received the Boeing Performance Excellence Award for 6 consecutive years. None of Schatz's competitors have received this award more than once during this time frame. This project aligns with the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council's work strategy, which seeks to grow the advanced manufacturing industry in the region. The company is also located in a distressed area in the city of Poughkeepsie that provides opportunities for a local workforce that can easily walk or take public transportation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this.
Any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item for James? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. Linda Dillon will now present a project from the Capital Region. Linda, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, directors. This morning, I'm going to be requesting that the directors approve a $1 million capital grant to Saratoga Performing Arts Center, Incorporated, for a portion of the costs associated with the construction and renovation to demolish aging structures, undertake infrastructure and landscape improvements, and the construction of a multi-story year-round events building, concession stalls, restrooms, and security space in the city of Saratoga Springs in Saratoga County. The project was a Capital Region Economic Development Council Round 8 priority project, and the total project cost is $8,696,704. Pardon me? Oh. Saratoga Performing Arts Center, or SPAC, is a nonprofit arts organization that runs the Arts Center and large amphitheater situated on the grounds of the Saratoga State Park. The organization is overseen by a board of directors elected by the organization's membership. SPAC is the summer home of the New York City Ballet and the Philadelphia Orchestra, as well as host of concerts by internationally known artists and signature events. After more than 50 years, the venue's outdated and failing infrastructure required significant investment in order to renovate and expand the facilities for the basic usability and safety of its guests. The project replaced the concession area restrooms, replaced semi-permanent tented structures, and redesigned the concessions plaza area to enhance patron experiences. The former facilities have been removed, and in their place, 2 new buildings and an open-air covered pavilion have been constructed. The main building is 32,000 square feet with 2 floors. The ground floor houses new concession facilities, guest restrooms, office and storage space. And the second floor is a year-round meeting, education, and gathering space accompanied by an outdoor terrace. This allows SPAC to expand its educational programs, community outreach, and audience development initiatives. The second building is a smaller 3,900 square foot single-story structure that will house additional concessions and has additional guest restrooms for patron use. So altogether, the 2 buildings have 197 guest rooms, which is more than double what they previously had. These buildings are separated by approximately 100 yards in an area in which a new open-air pavilion, 3,200 square feet, has been constructed. This covered structure provides SPAC with the ability to schedule events without regard to the weather conditions during the summer, the spring, and the fall, and allowing them to expand their programming. The project will lead to increased visitors to the Saratoga Spa State Park, expanded education audience development, and community outreach programs benefiting diverse and underserved populations. This project will enhance the guest experience and allow SPAC to increase attendance and hold events in typical off-season. The project is consistent with the Capital Region Economic Development Council's strategies of showcasing our beauty by capitalizing on historic arts and cultural attractions, and preparing for tomorrow an opportunity agenda by increasing access to education and training and advancing the region's creative economy. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? I will entertain a motion for approval.
Move.
I so move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? I take it there is none. It is carried, and we now move to Donna Howell, who will present 2 items from the Southern Tier region. Donna, we're listening.
Okay, thanks. Good morning. Able to do the with the board meeting, and I'm in the board meeting. I'm trying to find that email that they sent.
Whoever, I would remind all directors to mute their calls, or anybody else to mute their phone while not speaking. By the way, Debbie, that was pretty good, huh? Thanks a lot. Go ahead, Donna.
Thank you.
We have 2 projects from the Southern Tier. The first is a grant of up to $1,949,000 to be used for a portion of the cost for machinery and equipment that's going to equip 2 properties. The first is a 12,500 square foot building in downtown Endicott, and the second is a 20,000 square foot building in downtown Johnson City. And the ag site will develop indoor growing operations at those facilities, which will retain 5 jobs and create an additional 83 agriculture jobs. This was funded through the Greater Binghamton Fund, and is consistent with the Southern Tier Regional Economic Development Council's plan for to build the Greater Binghamton Innovation Ecosystem by investing in what we're calling innovation districts, or I districts, in the urban cores of Endicott, Johnson City, and Binghamton. And it's also aligned with the ESD state strategy for innovation and also placemaking. And this project will be complete in June 2021. The second project is we're requesting approval for a grant of up to $330,000 for the construction, renovation, and the purchase of machinery and equipment to transform an existing mechanical building on the campus of SUNY Broome into a state-of-the-art facility to support STEM programs of study, especially in engineering and advanced manufacturing. This was funded through Round 6. And is consistent with the Southern Tier Regional Economic Development Council's plan to invest in the advanced manufacturing industry and also build the Greater Binghamton Innovation Ecosystem by supporting new innovations in key regional manufacturing processes. It's also consistent with ESD's state strategy of workforce development. And it is complete. It was complete in August 2018, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
So moved. It's Howard.
Anyone want a second?
It's Eric.
Terrific. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. The motion carries. We now have 2 projects from our New York City region, which will be presented by Joe Tazewell. Joe, are you there?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
You're all yours. Thanks.
Thank you. The directors are requested to approve a $1,388,988 grant to the New York State Department of Conservation. The grant funds will come from the Bi-State Dredging Fund, administered by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. The Dredging Fund was created in 1996 through a joint dredging plan agreed to by New York and New Jersey. The Port Authority allocated a total of $130 million to the fund, with $65 million allocated to both New York and New Jersey each for harbor dredging projects. ESD was later designated as the New York entity to implement the plan, with eligible projects to be agreed upon by ESD and the Port Authority. This grant, which represents the remaining balance of the original $65 million, will be used by DEC to retain a 2-member interdisciplinary team to work exclusively on dredging and dredge material management activities in the New York City region through the fiscal year 2024. The DEC team will also develop a feasibility assessment to examine the beneficial reuse of dredge material to restore aquatic habitat that has been impaired at 2 man-made underwater burrow pits in the Jamaica Bay. A burrow pit is an area where sand or earth is taken to be used elsewhere, such as landfill. The second item, the directors are requested to approve a $13 million, $368,000 grant for the Council on the Environment, doing business as Grow NYC, in connection with the development of a green market regional food hub in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. Grow NYC, a nonprofit formed in 1970, runs a number of programs, including green markets, youth markets, recycling programs, gardens, environmental education, and a recently COVID-19 emergency fresh food box program, which will distribute over 66,000 fresh food boxes with enough food for over 500,000 meals. The concept for the regional food hub was proposed by the New York State and New York City Regional Food Hub Task Force, which the governor formed in 2014 at a statewide farm to upstate, downstate agricultural summit. The new food hub will work with a range of mainly small and mid-sized upstate farms to increase access to healthy, fresh, locally grown foods in underserved communities throughout New York City. In August 2016, the governor announced that the state was providing $15 million for the regional food hub. The New York City Regional Council designated the project as a priority that same year. In July 2017, the directors approved $1.6 million from the $15 million to be used for design, engineering, and related soft costs in connection with the project. That grant has been fully dispersed. This project, which has a total cost of $38.8 million, involves the development of a 60,420 square foot wholesale food distribution facility on a 157,000 square foot site in Hunts Point. It will include a wholesale farmer market, a cold storage facility for farmers, a food processing center, and other infrastructure to support local food businesses. Grow NYC will operate the facility and will use approximately 20,000 square feet in the facility, with the remaining space to be used for tenants. The facility will also contain green building elements that will bring it near LEED Silver level. The project will retain 14 existing jobs and create 12 new jobs at Grow NYC, but the facility will have the capacity to create another 83 new jobs. Construction is expected to begin in the third quarter of this year, with project completion in the spring of 2022. Our grant will be dispersed during construction. Thank you.
Any questions, comments?
This is Eric. I just wanted to add, Joe, thank you for that presentation. And certainly from an economic development standpoint and a jobs standpoint, this project adds, as you say, sort of 26 jobs with the ability to offer 83. But I think it's an important project that ties upstate with downstate. We work with farmers upstate, and then importantly, beyond just the economic development work that we're doing, also providing healthy food to underserved communities in New York City. And we know that there are many areas that are deserts for fresh food and supermarkets, and I think this project does a great job in fulfilling that need, along with the creation of a 60,000 square foot wholesale food facility that allows markets, farmer markets, to grow in there as well. So I just want to congratulate you, Joe, for sticking with this project over many years. I think this is important on many levels. So thank you.
Anyone else? I'll now entertain a motion on both projects.
Motion.
I so move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the Market New York Grant Program item, which will be presented by Kelly Baccarizzo. Kelly, please begin when you're ready.
Yes, good morning, Steve, Eric, Howard, and to the board. Market New York has 3 working capital projects that were awarded in round 9 in December of 2019 of the REDC Awards, and they're being presented for the board's approval today. These projects have been on hold until the attractions were able to operate under the current COVID guidelines, and the destinations have each communicated with our team that they have an appropriate COVID plan in place that includes social distancing and adherence to all COVID requirements, such as indoor capacity, timed entrances, and/or face coverings. The first project is a grant of $366,300, and it's been awarded to the Natural History Museum of the Adirondacks, otherwise known by their DBA, the Wild Center. This not-for-profit organization, located in the North Country region, will use the grant funds to promote and complete a marketing plan that will welcome visitors to the Adirondacks in the traditionally slow fall and winter months. The project will increase tourism revenue and expand the season by targeted marketing, open wild walk year-round, adding first to fall and wild winter weekend activities like ice fishing. This second project that we are presenting for your approval today is also a working capital project that was awarded to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in the amount of $317,250. The National Baseball Hall of Fame, located in the Mohawk Valley region, will use the grant funds to produce a new video series called Diamonds of the Hall of Fame Collection. This will be distributed on YouTube and social media channels. Each episode will be hosted by a well-known sports broadcaster or a Hall of Famer, telling the story of an artifact in the museum and encouraging visitors to come see the items in person. The third and last working capital project is a $428,104,000 grant to the historic Hudson Valley. This Mid-Hudson regional organization will use the grant funds to expand the very successful Great Jack-o'-lantern Blaze to a second location at Old Bethpage Village on Long Island. The installation will take place from September through November, and families will be able to experience this walk-through nighttime outdoor installation that features thousands of artist-created jack-o'-lanterns bathed in dramatic lighting and accompanied by an original soundtrack. And if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Move. This is Hilda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. We next have the Restore New York Communities Capital Grants items, which will be presented by Simone Bethune. Simone, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to everyone. Today we are seeking Director's approval for 5 Restore New York grants. The first item is a $772,000 Round 5 grant to the town of Wilma in the North Country region for rehabilitation of a vacant 9,000 square foot commercial building into a destination restaurant for residents and visitors. The developer began renovations to the building in August 2019 and completed the project in June 2020 at a cost of approximately $1.5 million. The restaurant is currently operational and is expected to create 11.5 full-time jobs over the next 3 years, transforming downtown Carthage while helping to enhance the area as a destination location in the North Country. The next 2 items are a Round 4 grant of $500,000 and a Round 5 grant of $6 million to the village of Canajoharie in the Mohawk Valley region to demolish and remediate 500,000 square foot former beach nut facility, which was severely damaged by flooding in 2006. The project, which will be complete in December 2021, will create a 15-acre shovel-ready site with wastewater treatment capacity, 3-phase power, and direct access to the New York State Thruway. Additionally, slightly over 100,000 square feet of stabilized and remediated building space will be ready for fit-up and economic reuse. ESD $7.1 million in assistance. ESD will leverage approximately $7.1 million in total project cost. The fourth item is a $980,000 round 4 grant to the City of Schenectady in the Capital Region for the demolition of 15 properties and new construction, renovation, and abatement of hazardous materials. This project was complete in March 2020 and saw 7 severely blighted properties demolished and 8 buildings preserved and enhanced. As a result of the projects, the area has already seen $13.6 million in new investment and indirect investment in the surrounding area of over $64 million in new mixed-use construction. Approximately 140 new affordable units of housing have been created. Several historic buildings on the National and State Register have also been preserved. And the fifth item is a round 4 grant of $500,000 to the village of Sylvan Beach in the Mohawk Valley region. The village will rehabilitate and restore the vacant Yesterday's Royal Restaurant adjacent to the village's main street, bringing back one of the premier tourist attractions to the area. The reopening of the restaurant and dining room will result in positive economic and community development and will in turn re-energize the commercial resort district. The restaurant reopened in June 2020 at a cost of $550,000. And I can take any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. It is now my great and distinct pleasure to turn things over to Kevin Eunice, who will provide a summary of the administrative actions on today's agenda before I call for a vote on those 5 items. Kevin, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, directors. I just want to thank you for taking my call. I'm a big fan and a long-time listener to your show.
Get to your point, caller.
I'll be presenting 5 items for your consideration this morning. The first item relates to ESD's mission statement and its performance measures. The New York State Public Authorities Law requires each authority to re-examine its mission statement and performance measures annually to ensure that its mission is not changed and the performance measures continue to support its mission. ESD's mission statement and performance measurement report for your information, are included in today's materials, and the directors are requested to confirm their re-examination of the mission and related performance measures. The second item is a request for approval of a land bank application submitted jointly by Dutchess County and the City of Poughkeepsie. Staff has reviewed the application and believe the establishment of the land bank will assist the county and the city in dealing with vacant and abandoned properties in their communities. This will be the 26th application approved by the board to date. Third item is a request for authorization to amend ESD's agreement with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Construction and Development Company and the New York State Thruway Authority to extend the time and services of an experienced diversity compliance manager to assist ESD to meet the diversity goals on its large construction projects. The proposed amendment will extend the agreement for an additional year with a 1-year renewal option, and the total agreement amount is not to exceed $450,000. The next item is a request for authorization to amend a contract with FX Collaborative. FX Collaborative is the architecture and urban planning consultant for the Empire Station Complex GPP and design guideline preparation. The contract is being amended to reflect a scope increase caused by the additional area required for Penn Station's southern expansion, and to amend the base contract to a not to exceed amount from $590,000 to $717,000. The fifth and final item is a request to authorize an amendment with VHB. VHB is the consultant for the neighborhood conditions assessment that is required as part of the Empire Station Complex GPP. Our Land Use Council has requested additional areas of study, and the contract is being amended to reflect this increase in scope and to amend the base contract amount to not to exceed from $221,900 to $259,100. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Any questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
So moved. It's
Motion.
Howard.
Second, it's Eric.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion carries. Thank you, Kevin. The remaining items on today's agenda were provided to the directors for their information, and no presentations will be made. There being no further business, I will in a second make a motion to adjourn. Before I do, I just want to thank everybody for participating today and tell you that I really do look forward to a time when we can actually do this in person, which hopefully will be soon. And on that note, do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all for your participation today, and I suspect we will all be talking more in the very near future. And I look forward to the tour of Moynihan Station. So thanks, and have a great day, everybody.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for doing it.
Talk to you later.